All right, Coach Garrett here, and today we're going to talk about the slant board. So, people have made fun of the way that I walk and the way I run for years. I literally move around on the balls of my feet like I'm springing around. Part of that is just the way that I'm genetically built. It's the way that my people are built. My sister is called twinkle toes in soccer. My daughter's heels hardly ever touch the ground. Some of it's learned and some of it's genetic. But our ankle mobility or our reaction to the ground goes all the way up the chain. If you have tight ankles, you're gonna have tight hips. If you have tight hips, your knees are probably working a little bit more than they need to. Your back's probably working a little bit more than they need to. So if you truly wanna take your performance to that next level, it's all about really gaining ankle mobility and improving the way that your feet can move. All of that stuff is low-hanging fruit and really good habits to stack in. Today is Sunday, it's one of my recovery days. Got a half marathon coming up next weekend, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm just taking care of my joints. Start off here, we're gonna get on the slant board. Slant board guy has made an awesome product here. You can make these things yourself, but you could literally do back squats. You can put 225 pounds on your back and get this guy down. To start off, I'm just gonna do a little halfway lift, working on keeping my toes facing forward. I can try and move around with these different stances. I'm starting off, I'm just getting very dynamic with my reach, warming up that length in my ankles, in my feet. I can see that my right foot really wants to externally rotate, that heel's having a hard time. I can pedal, I can let go of that neck. So I really like these slant boards just as a tool to play around in. Again, I don't really like to stretch. I don't really like to do corrective exercise, but I do really like to play and move. And I think of this as playing and moving as much as possible. So look, just a little bit of play, and I got to the point where I got into a pretty good range. From here, I'm gonna go the opposite way, and now I'm gonna work on my squat. Again, I have the tendency to get real wide and externally rotate my feet. It's the way that I'm built, once again, structurally the way I want to. So I'm gonna over-exaggerate and get my feet a little bit narrow. And I'm gonna work on just doing a little squat, working on keeping my tailbone over my heels the best that I can. That's gonna be a little bit easier said than done. You know, typically that upper body, that shin torso angle can match. But in this one, I want those knee ligaments in this VMO to really get warmed up. These knee ligaments are actually meant to move. So as I'm getting used to this, it's kind of those same squat flow techniques. You can shimmy, you can sway, and you definitely want to breathe. You can add in a couple little forward folds, a little bouncy from here. But again, ankles and knee ligaments are all just getting the opportunity to get warm. I don't necessarily count reps when I'm doing this stuff, it's about feeling. I can feel the tension in my knees kind of on each side let go. I can feel the tension in my ankles and my toes let go. And that's what we're after. Back. Mixing this in with a couple of these hip flexion ankle rolls is always good. And remember, when this knee is pulled into the chest and the hip is in flexion, it allows me to truly rotate from that ankle. It takes the hip out of the equation as I go flying into the wood wall like kettlebells. I always tell people to write, you know, Team Babe, be a badass. You can write my name, your name, whatever you need to. Just make sure that ankle moves a lot of different ways. This is also why I call this stuff flow, is because yes, there is science behind what we're doing. We're doing a little bit of a yin-yang approach. We're gonna work kind of the front side and the back side of the angle, and then we're gonna do a few of these little balance drills just to make sure that everything is alive and feeling great. So we're gonna come back to the little toe touch, and this time I'm gonna add resistance. I'm going to use a 16 kg bell. Used this one as an anchor before. Tie down a swim buoy. But find a weight or anything that just works for you. It could be a milk jug. And this is the idea of the Jefferson curl. Can I have those soft knees? Can I hinge through the hips? And then as I get to this lower range, it's okay for me to have that hollow body or that tucked position going through the thoracic spine. I'm going to use gravity in my breath. I'm trying to keep my abdominals tied towards my quads, tied to my hips. All those little shimmies and shakes, sways and shakes are okay. Oh my God, I'm gonna hurt my back. No, you're not. Your spine is actually meant to move like this. And the more that we can move through the ankles, the more that we can get those knee ligaments nice and healthy, they can all do their job. Now look, I'm all the way to the ground. I can see where I'm compensating. I can even shake that head out. Now the bell's into the ground, I'm using it for leverage, trying to pull my shoulder blades back. And I can pedal. Oh, that feels good. You also notice we're kind of doing one thing at a time. Can we start easy and then progress the range? People think of progression as it's over a series of workout. I always think of it as during the workout in the concept of skill drill skill. Once we warm something up, we can keep adding on layers to it. Now we got our single leg balance. You got to be able to stand on one leg. If you can't, it's showing a little dysfunction. And here I'm just doing a little single leg squat where I'm going to tap my heel down, and then I'm going to find hip flexion, and I'm going to work on getting tall right here. We're going to want to be in this position. A lot of people want to get lazy and get back here, but ultimately we want to be as tall as we can. This is knee high and foot flat to the ground. Dropping that heel back down. And now that we've warmed up these ligaments and tendons, the muscles can do their job. These big highway muscles, there's stuff from your tongue that goes all the way to your feet. I can get a little bit lower as I get better, as long as I don't kick my Thor hammer down there. And this is even how I teach people to progress into getting pistol squats. I'm going to cheat back out of that one. I'm not there yet, but working on decelerating can help you out. Just outside the comfort zone, starting to get a little winded. I can start to feel a little muscle burn. I'm going just past that point of discomfort. We talk a lot about that in static stretching. You know, you go to the edge. It can't just be comfortable. It can't be easy. It's about creating tension and awareness. So this knee and this hip is a little bit janky. I tend to overuse this side, so I'm getting a little anterior medial. Let's not call it pain, let's call it feedback. Oh, I got pain in my knees. My knees are shot. No, your foot and your hip are probably jacked. And it's most likely, in my instance, it's coming from my right foot. I've got like these talons going on with my right. I'm very mindful. I have dysfunction, and that's why I do this stuff. You can see my knees wanting to cave in a little bit, telling me that that hip is also not doing its job. So can that big toe stay down? And I eventually got there. And what's funny is, although this hip is janky, this is my plant leg. This is my stronger leg. Ooh, I got out of there. And see, there's a little more go on it, but it's not good go. If I really kept straining that and pushing that, that's what I mean when I say you're adding strength to dysfunction. So if you're running miles on miles on miles and you can't even stand on that leg, or that pain or that sensation, you're not doing anything to compensate for it, no bueno. The other thing that's cool about this slant board is now we're gonna do some of these like frontal plane side lunges. It's just getting our foot to come in that way. I don't feel like figuring out if that's pronating or supinating right now. It's on a Sunday, it's technically not a work day. But if I can get this knee driving towards my pinky toe, it's gonna take us the way that our foot doesn't wanna go. Ooh, that's a little bit different sensation in the hip, and I'm over exaggerating. I'm driving this one. And I'm even beginning to work on some of these fancy hand and hip positions. Last one. Right? What is your relationship with your hip to your same side ankle, and what is the relationship between your ankle and the opposite hip? That is gait. That is running. That head should move over your toe. There should be some range. We'll give you the booty view. Okay, this is my ankle that's a little jacked up. This is the foot that doesn't like to extend, and I can feel that a little bit differently. In this hip, it shows up even on that outside hip. I'm a little surprised by that. And this little shaka bro thing I'm working on is I'm learning a lot from my buddy Mitch. He's got a great channel called Feel Your Damn Muscles. He applies a lot of the David Weck stuff and works with, a lot of athletes and gets them back into their performance. Overcoming those injuries and really preventing injuries is what I'm all about. So just playing around. Flex that ankle again. Same side ankle to hip, opposite ankle to hip. Okay, we're gonna come back to the slant board. I'm just gonna keep the bell down here. I'm gonna use this as a little standing split practice. So this bell is basically gonna work as a yoga block, and hopefully I don't kick my air conditioner or the mace behind me. We'll scoot up a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna start on my right side. I always start on my strong side, not my stronger side. And in this instance, I'm gonna let my heel come off the ground. Woo. Can I push back through that heel and raise that back leg? I'm gonna grab a bigger bell, right? Bigger bell, higher angle, more sturdiness. This again is not my better side, but we don't have weak sides. We just have strong and stronger sides. Oh man, but that pull with the angle, the awareness just of these feet to come back on. And as I'm getting better, I can get in to not only trying to get the heel down, but to try to push through the back heel. Ooh, this is stuff that I'm not good at, that I don't like, and that's exactly why I'm doing it. Okay, this is my Sunday. This is my off day, recovery day. I'm prioritizing to do this. Get a little gritty in your active rest. This isn't stressing my nervous system, but it is bringing blood flow and synovial fluid to these joints, help them recover, help them heal. If you just sit there all tight after a run or something, you're not gonna feel any better. Okay, I'm gonna cheat into that position. I'm pushing into the bell. That heel's off, that's okay. I'm gonna bring that knee forward. We've warmed up and practiced that motion. Can I now push down it? Can I push through that back heel? So this is why the slant board guide board I think is so great. There's a lot of science on the angles. If you built it yourself, are you gonna trust yourself? And then there's lots of overpriced, cheap Chinese knockoffs out there. I believe this is an American-made bro who has found a niche market and is killing it. So it's a little pricey, but I think it's worth it, man. Your ankle health is totally worth it. We're gonna do another round of these single leg squats. Now that everything is warmed up and it's warm, is it gonna be a little bit better? All you need to do is work on getting to this flexion position and tapping the heel. If you wanna start sending it, what is that range you can comfortably get down to and get back out of? That's where I feel pretty good. I'm gonna come down and sit in the pocket. Use that exhale to help me out. Okay, I'm not quite there on the right side. Having a discrepancy in strength, also not ideal. That shows me that I'm over favoring one side, which I very much know that I'm doing it. Shows up in my paddleboard stroke. It shows up in almost everything. Played a lot of baseball, did a lot of throwing. Everything I did was turning left. I've been trying to turn right to overdo it. So I did about 5 challenging reps. Find your range that is challenging for you. And this is the side that is janky, but it's technically stronger. So if I can keep those joints stacking and have that efficiency, I can hum all the way up. Great. However, Garrett, time to address a little bit of weakness. So if I stay just in a similar range, maybe it's even hard for me to get through the medium range. Maybe that's what the problem is that control in the early or the middle phases. So I like going to all depths. There is no, oh, I can't get down here. I definitely can't get back up. So I love the slant board. Even if you just do this, you're gonna get something out of it. Take care of your ankles, take care of your feet, and then if you really wanna go to the next level, you can start lifting with your ankles. Work on flexion, dorsiflexion, low hanging fruit to get your squat better, to decrease knee and back pain, and to improve your performance. Have a great day.